Welcome to Northwynd 2, episode 15. In this episode, we do Fear Factory in the harbor on Reaper 4 Skulls, and I'm level 15. This is my first group video of the series, and my first R4 quest of this life, which is really awesome. And I'm doing this quest with my guild leader and channel viewer, Warcane, here on Cannith, and we're also joined by another pug. And it was really awesome to do my first R4. In fact, his TR train level range happened to be crossing my path, so we ran this evening together, and actually afterward did my first R5. So let's talk about the quests that we did first. So let's see. We started out with missing, and I think we just did that on R2. And then we went over to sinister storage, and we stepped that up to R3. I think there were 3 of us at that point. And then Fear Factory we do on R4. And this one, you'll see, like, toward the start, like, folks are going different ways, splitting up, and running off before they're fully healed, and I can't keep everybody healed, and so had a couple deaths, but then we start working more together and things go more smoothly. That's one of the couple of the really important things that I mentioned, like in my Reaper survival guide. And if you're newer to Reaper mode and you haven't seen those videos, I'll put links in this video description. Great tips in there for people who are newer to Reaper mode and looking for tips for like survivability and just how to tackle Reaper mode, that higher level of challenge. And when you start splitting up, that's when things can really start going wrong, or if you're running off before everybody's fully healed, before people are raised, etc., that can cause problems too. But once we start working together as a team, things go a lot better. After Fear Factory, we headed out to Evening Star and did the Disciples chain. And so the first one, Disciples of Shar, we did, I think, on R3. And then we did Escape Plan on R3. And then we stepped it up to R5 for Shadow of a Doubt. So it was really awesome. Normally, like on Gingerspyce, my sunbursts just clean up the shadows in that quest. But my DCs on this tune aren't as good, so I was struggling a little bit. I mean, there's the sunburst insta-kills shadows, tons of shadows in that quest, but you've got to have a good enough DC, otherwise they're going to be making their saves. And they made a lot of saves against my sunburst. It was still effective, but just not as effective as I would see like on Gingerspyce, for example. And that's all I did for level 15. Actually going to take 16 after this one. Alright. Enhancements. Where are we at? Spend a couple more points over here to get +4 natural armor, and I'll spend 1 more point in this tree to get that up to +6 natural armor. And then I think I dumped a point of wisdom here because I didn't need it. It was at a odd number, so it was no help. And then I got some 20% healing amplification here. That's the only change from before. My Reaper points are still 6, but you can see I'm really close. I should have number 7 after another quest or 2, so that'll be pretty cool. For the wolf, still got the same armor and collar. And I think I actually forgot to train my wolf, so the enhancements haven't changed. So I'll have to do that when I take 16. For my spells, got level 8 spells now. So Earthquake is the king of crowd control, just at least for druids. It's one of the best crowd control spells in the game. Something that makes it particularly effective is that it's a reflex save, and a lot of mobs have low reflex saves, at least the kind of mobs that would gather in a group that you'd want to throw an earthquake down for. Mobs that have higher reflex saves are often mobs that aren't going to be kited around, like archers, for example. So I just love Earthquake. Can't say enough good things about it. If you're a druid, learn to love it. I like to turn off the meta magics for it. Of course, I have it quickened. I don't want to get interrupted, but empower and maximize. Earthquake does a little bit of damage. It's not enough to warrant the extra spell point cost to maximize and empower it. So, it's just a little mana conservation tip there. Turn off all your metas for Earthquake except for Quicken, and any metas that would like extend the range, or increase the DC, for example. Like later on, if you had Emboldened spell, you'd want to have that on it. And I also turn off the damaging metas for my regular version of Sunburst. Of course, the SLAs, you can apply metas for free, but the regular version I just have there for the blinding effect. Great crowd control. So 2 huge crowd control spells at level 8, which is Earthquake and Sunburst. Sunburst blinds mobs and insta-kills mobs like shadows and mobs that would die due to blindness like Evil Eyes. So here I'm just really going for the blindness to save a little mana. I'm turning off Empower and Maximize, but of course I do want it quickened. Now, I just took Sunburst because of Shadow of Doubt, because there are lots of shadows. But prior to that, for the duration of level 15, I had been running with Finger of Death, which was, I run with it in this episode, so you'll see it hit a little bit, but it was touch and go. Of course, it doesn't hit as good on this tune as it would on Ginger, but it's certainly nice to get rid of a pesky, caster or champion with Finger of Death. So, I have long said that to not bother with Finger of Death on a Druid, but after Reaper mode, my opinion on it has changed. That I definitely like it for Reaper mode for upper level heroics. So 15 through 19, I don't use it into epics. I suppose it could be used in lower level epics, but I really would not advise investing resources and trying to make your Finger of Death very powerful on a Druid. You've got lots of other spells. Like I said, it can be very effective in upper heroics, but I would not advise that you try to make it effective beyond that into epic levels. But again, great to get rid of a champion or a caster, for example. It is the only Druid spell that actually has a spell penetration check. And I've said before, not really worth investing in spell penetration on a Druid. I definitely wouldn't waste feats on it. As far as gear goes, I wouldn't even really go out of your way for it. If you can fit it in, great. I got a little bit of spell penetration on my Torque, just +2. But, it's not the kind of a thing where I would, go and get, Wizard and Favorite Soul levels just for that. Or past lives, I mean, just for that. For mobs that have, high spell resistance, most of your spells don't have a spell pen check, you just stick to your other spells. Alright. Any other spells worth mentioning? Don't think so. So now that I got Earthquake, the whole hurricane is coming together. There's only one piece missing, that's Storm of Vengeance, which we'll get in a couple more levels. And so now the crowd control is, Earthquake, Sleet Storm, Ice Storm, and then the Sunburst. And then when I have 2 Sunbursts, the double shot of Sunburst. So you're knocking down mobs with Earthquake, you're slowing them down with Sleet Storm, you're making them blind with Sleet Storm, you're making them blind with Sunburst, and you're slowing them down and doing some damage with Ice Storm, and then you're doing more damage with Storm of Vengeance later on. So that is all coming together nicely. For my gear, I'm just going to mention the pieces that have changed from last level. So I still have Wisdom 7 on the goggles, but now it's got Insightful Evocation Focus. The other one had Conjuration Focus. I found this pair. Evocation Focus is definitely better for me. evocation is like Call Lightning, Earthquake, Sunburst, for example. And then the only other change is I upgraded the Braces of Wind and Cloak of Flame so that they're a level 15 version. So higher magnetism, lightning lore on the Braces of Wind. Dodge, now it's got Air Guard, so it's another knockdown effect. I'm actually rolling 2 knockdown effects now. One from Autumn Winds, which is the enhancement that has a knockdown effect. And then the Air Guard as well as a personal haste effect when that procs. And then the Cloak of Flames, higher combustion of fire lore, higher fire absorption, and now it's got the Fire Shield hot proc, so that's a nice little guard. I'm often in the middle of combat taking a few hits, so hey, that's a little bonus, I'll take it. And so these will stay the way they are until I get the epic versions for level 20. And that's the only change in gear from last episode. And lastly, I'll just mention, let's see, feats. The feat that I picked up for this level would have been Empower Healing. So I want my healing spells to hit as big as possible. That adds 75 spell power. Unfortunately, Empower Healing spell does not affect... oh, it does affect Regenerate. Regenerate doesn't get affected by Empower and... regular Empower and Maximize. So. Anyways, I do want my heals to hit big on myself and others, so that's why I take that one. Alright, let's get on to R4 Fear Factory.
When I say it'll be easy, it's for your spells to stick. I think you'd be alright.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, this is my first R4 on this tune, so it'll be fun.
Well, the mobs in here, I think, don't have very good saves. I don't know, looks like they're all laying down to me.
Oh yeah, if I can get him to drop my Earthquake, no problem, but we start running against
Lucky
the
roll.
Rackhounds and stuff. Like, the Rackhounds blow out Earthquakes, how dumb is that? Double Reaper.
Oh yeah, I got my ass whooped. At least I got some blocked. That's something.
That was intense.
Couldn't kill him fast enough.
This isn't gonna work if we're fighting in two different places. in different rooms. I can't heal you both. And you weren't even
And with
either
the
one
Plague
of you were even
Reaper,
healed
too.
up.
Nah, we'll be alright. We just need to stay together. Yeah. Voodoo, you lead the way, we follow. You're the crowd for that.
Been a little bit hit or miss. It's only my third quest at this level, but I don't think taking a very good saves. Kobold caster here is dynamite. Be careful. Spell absorption on. I have been killed by this kobold caster as disintegrates more time than I care to admit. And I have learned to put on my spell absorption for this part. Witch Doctor. Can we finger him? Hell yeah. Witch Doctor. Oh, and I'm out of mana. Still in the Archeron? Yep. Let's juice me up a little bit. That time the finger didn't work. Hey, we have a bard now. That'll be helpful. Let me give you some buffs before you jump down.
I'm gonna use this. Might as well get my lay on hands. Wait for him to get up from shrining. Alright.
Incoming behind us, Warcane.
You're welcome. Probably had a heal down debuff for the champion. That's still 116. That dude has no heal amp. Let's look at the difference between him and Warcane. I'll throw Warcane 164. That's a significant difference. The extra healing. Come on.
vigor. I mean the mass vigor. Might as well pull out a summon. Yep, people running off. Fear Reaper now too, that's fun. That's the end. Didn't have my spell point item on. What's my percent chance on displacement these days? 75%. Very workable. The champion finger. really cool to do my first R4 on this tune. Hey, if you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if you have any questions about my build, you respond to my build post in Druid forums.